Now, elections in both the Ivory Coast and in Guinea are underway this month. These are two of many elections on the African continent this year. Tensions are running high in both these countries due to the elections. Charlie Khumalo, a correspondent from Channel Africa, joins us now to tell us a little bit more about these elections. It's lovely to have you in studio. Welcome to Morning Live.
Wonderful, thank you.
Good. All right, now let's talk with Guinea first. This year, voters in Guinea hosting their second democratic elections since 1958. What are the issues that delayed these democratic elections in the country?
One other important fact I would like to note is that there has never been a democratically functioning government in this country ever since it obtained independence from France.
Yeah.
It's a country that has been characterized, by military coups, dictatorial regimes, and so on. Hence, we talk about two democratic elections in 60 years.
Sure.
Now, they had their first elections about 2010, and this is supposed to be the second, the election that took place on Sunday. But unfortunately, they have been characterized by dissatisfaction, recordings of vote riggings, maladministration, and so on. I really don't know what's going to happen because the opposition has already come out openly saying that they are not going to concede defeat.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what it means now.
Sure.
It could be a setback to the country.
Now, there's 7 candidates competing against President Alpha Conde, who's hoping to win the second, who of course is hoping to win a second term in these elections. Do you think Conde is strong enough to get a second term?
Preliminary results say he's comfortably ahead at the moment. But the main opposition, led by a man called Celine Diallo, say there has been reports of vote rigging, fraud, and so on. But one other thing that is worth mentioning when it comes to elections in Guinea, unfortunately, in quite a number of African countries, if you have noted, elections, are divided on ethnic divide. And then Guinea is not an exception. There has already been a mention that President Conde, who comes from the minority Malinke ethnic group, is ahead. And the main opposition, led by a man who comes from an ethnic group called Payul, that's Diallo, is coming from behind. So it makes it impossible for an ordinary man on the ground. How come? When we know that we, from this ethnic group, we vote for this man, the minority from that group voted for that man. Sure. How come does it happen? People do not vote looking at the delivery, the capability of a leader, and of course, the issue of nationality being put ahead, above everything, That's the most unfortunate thing at the moment on the African continent.
Yeah. Well, the other unfortunate thing was the outbreak of Ebola, and that's caused, enormous damage to the country. Do you think that any of the 7 candidates have the ability to turn it around?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment, though the country can have the capacity to do so. Guinea is a very, very rich country, the largest producer of bauxite in the whole world. It produces diamond, produces gold, but it's also worth mentioning that it ranks among the least undeveloped countries in the world, among the 10 top least undeveloped countries in the world. So it actually shows that resources of the countries are not properly utilized. Should they be put on a good use, yes, fine. It can come to the rescue of the country. But who's got the capability of doing so without roping in, Western countries who normally come, and deplete the minerals, take the resources out of the continent.
All right, that's the situation in Guinea, because we also need to take a look at the Ivory Coast. Now, there have been reports of post-election violence that's been happening in that country. A code of good conduct has been established to avoid violence. And only 4 of the 10 candidates running for president signed this document. Do you think this is an indication of more violence there?
Well, Ivory Coast is going to hold elections on the 25th of this month. But I must say that leading to that, there has been, of course, skirmishes. Another unfortunate thing on the African continent is that the police and the military force are heavily politicized. They always side with the ruling party instead of the state. They do not put national interest above everything. You get the point? Now, when it comes to the issue of Ivory Coast, the opposition, people belong to a party that belong to the former president, that's who's at the ICC right now, that's Gbagbo, Laurent Gbagbo, have already, cried out openly saying that we are being abused, we are being tortured, we are being terrorized, we are not allowed to hold free rallies. So it also shows that even if they can go to the elections, the terrain is not level for everybody at the moment.
Yeah. So what are your expectations? I mean, going up into these elections, they're around the corner. Do you think that they're going to go violent free? I mean, is that at all a possibility?
Well, my wish is that things should run smoothly. But I mean, as somebody who covers events in that country on a daily basis, I mean, already there are dissatisfactions. I mean, if people talk about, political rallies not being allowed openly, police coming from nowhere, to come and disperse, throw tear gas in a free political rally, I mean, what do you expect out of that? Already it shows that the police force actually, are already forging victory for the man in power.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting issues happening whenever we talk about what's happening around the continent and seeing the different elections that are taking place, this time focusing in on Ivory Coast, which is happening on the 25th of this month, 25th of October.
Precisely.
And Guinea as well. Their second democratic election since 1958. We're sitting here in 2015. The only second elections taking place. Crazy. All right, thank you for joining us, Charlie.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Pleasure having you here in studio.
Wonderful.
Charlie Khumalo is a correspondent from Channel Africa talking to us about issues relating to the continent. Let's take a break. We'll see you after this.